My dear friend, Gary Lineker. Yep, he could be set to extend his stay with the BBC after several reports suggested that they have begun discussing a new contract with him. Well, Gary has hosted BBC's Match of the Day since 1999, but has been criticised over the last decade for voicing his political beliefs, both in the media and online. Gary Lineker's current contract is worth over £1.35 million. Most people would be happy with just 10% of that. Actually, 5% of it would probably be quite good. But that expires when the BBC's own Premier League rights deal runs out at the end of next season. So joining me now for the latest on this is sports broadcaster Chris Scudder. Chris, welcome on board. Now, look, they're discussing his contract. Does that mean that they are potentially going to pay him more? I mean, is that what we're hearing? Is that where this is going?
Don't know about more. I mean, he took a pay cut, didn't he, a couple of years ago to keep himself in the loop, if you like. Remember, we had this conversation, didn't we, about 8 months ago when it all kicked off over the comments that brought this whole thing to light. Couple of reasons, really, I think, why he's still in the picture. You saw what happened last time, and people thought, you thought, didn't you, Nana, that it was the end of the line for Lineker. And I hoped. I bet you anything this blows over. And within a week, they had an empty chair for Match of the Day. And a lot of punters at home thought, great, we don't need a presenter. But within days, he was back in the seat because they value him clearly. And he's also, I suppose, tick the boxes now over the independent panel review, which came out, about 6 weeks ago. A bit woolly, if you ask me, about, what you can't criticize individuals or parties, and if you're a non-sports journalist, he's been vindicated. He can say what he wants over policy, but not individuals. So it all seems pretty woolly, to be honest. But, when push comes to shove, he's the best man for the job. I think the BBC know that, and he's going to get a new contract. I'd be amazed if it doesn't happen. Well,
but when he wasn't presenting it, it got more viewers. That's the first thing. And secondly...
Did it really? Yeah.
But yeah, apparently so. But also, the second thing is that we, the licence fee payers, are paying for this £1.35 million. And I think there's a case for that salary to be considerably reduced. He's only doing one show a week. Why on earth are the British taxpayers paying £1.35 million in the form of a licence fee, which ultimately is a tax, because if you don't pay it, you end up in jail? Why are we paying a portion of that massive salary for somebody who only literally does one day a week? It's absurd.
It's a good point. I mean, don't forget also that there's going to be the Champions League. It's not just the Premier League. I mean, Lineker's gone on record as saying himself that it will depend if the Premier League get the next contract for highlights. Now, I understand that there's not a queue of broadcasters wanting to show highlights. There's reasons for that, because on a Saturday night, you can go online, YouTube, various other places, you can see goals highlights. So what? Yeah, you're right. I mean, why pay £1.35 million for something which you can find elsewhere? The reason for that is that it's his analysis that you can't get anywhere else, which is valued. So him and Shearer and Ian Wright, that kind of thing. But you're right. I mean, a lot of people saying, well, when Match of the Day was on and there was no presenter, we actually liked it more. Yeah. I'm not sure everyone would agree with that, but it's it's a valid point. It's a lot of money. He's the highest paid presenter at the Beeb by some distance. But the fact that Champions League football is now going to be shown in highlight form from the BBC, I think it's the end of next season, and that will run through for several years, plus the extension of the Premier League contract, which will go through to 2029, I understand it. That's why I think they feel they need him, because he is the kind of the ringmaster of that analysis, which the BBC value. Most people. I don't.
Chris, I just don't buy it. I think there's plenty of other great broadcasters who haven't been given an opportunity, because people like him are just standing in the way constantly on this £1.35 million, who could do a better job for a fraction of the money. And I think that actually the British people should speak. What if the British people said, no, we don't want to pay?
Well, they can vote with their feet, can't they? They can vote with their feet and not watch it. If the figures drop.
But you vote with your feet, but you've still got to pay for this thing. Do you know what I mean? People vote with their feet and don't watch it, but he'll still be paid 1 point something million. And I genuinely think there's a conversation.
I don't know who sets the price, really. You know, it is high. You're right. It is too much. I agree with that. But you know, that he is a legend of his sport, and you know, he's a patriot as well. And you know, some people like to hear him, but others think, you know, that they could do without the pundits at all. And you know, as you, I don't remember the figures of the blank match today, but it was a fascinating watch. 20 minutes of just goals, which you can get on a Saturday night if you look around. You can find it, you know. But you know, the Beeb. Because they feel that Lineker's tick the boxes now over impartiality. With you know, you can if you're a non. What were the words?
It's if you
on issues and policies, including matters of political contention outside of journalism.
Yeah,
to me,
and it's 2 weeks either side as well.
It's a bit woolly.
It's very woolly,
isn't it? The wording's woolly.
Yeah, and it's something like you can only do it 2 weeks either side of your programme as well.
Either side
but you're doing it anyway, and then he cleverly sort of got around it by not making his statements a question rather than... It was just basically you can just get around it very easily and do exactly the same thing. Chris, it's a pleasure.
They clearly want to keep him. No, they clearly want to keep him. You know, and it's gonna come to pass. And they've got a lot of football highlights to show. Lots of people don't want to watch highlights, but it's all the people have got. They've got no live rights apart from the Euros and the World Cups. You know, there's less. There's no Premier League live stuff, so the Beeb have to feed on that, and you know that's why what they want from him is analysis and all his mates that come with that. That's what they want.
Chris, thank you so much. Always a pleasure. That's Chris Scudder. He is a sports broadcaster.